Hello there. It is Wednesday, the 16th of March, 2023. You're watching The War on Error with me, Graham Hughes. Sorry about the tardiness of my arrival this evening. That was due to a interview which I was doing with Mike Galsworthy and Femi Olawale, overrunning a little bit, and then I did that thing at the end of a Zoom meeting where it decides to convert the file, and considering I've had a lot of technical gremlins over the last few weeks, I wanted to make it absolutely sure that the video file had converted before I started broadcasting to you lovely people. So I'm sorry I'm a bit late. Might be a little bit of a shorter show tonight as a result. Don't need that in my ear. I've finished talking to people. But yeah, thanks for joining me. I've got Jacob Platt on the line. I've got Freckle Puny out there. We've got John Barleycorn on the horizon. We've got Graham Haller saying evening. And Spank Flaps is there as well. Graham Hughes and Matthew Corbett. Oh, great. Can I get me a little sooty house? There you go. That'd be cool. It would be cool if I had a little glove puppet, but it would mean someone sitting under the table for the whole of the show. Just move. Anyway, Graham, are you going to skip PMQs next Wednesday and cover Boris appearing before the select committee instead? I might do both. I might do both. I didn't realise that Boris Johnson was appearing before a select committee, but I'm quite happy to add a commentary to that and call him out for all sorts because he is a canker blossom. There you go. Bit of Shakespeare for you there. Number 3 says, I'm listening to Walk on the Wild Side by Lou Reed. Great song. Velvet Underground. Wow, what a band. Although, out of like Lou Reed, David Bowie and Iggy Pop, who thought that Iggy Pop would be the last man standing? Nobody. That's it. Anyway, so I'm going to talk a little bit tonight about our new budget, which I think the headline from our budget is... it's slightly less bad than we thought it was going to be. That's literally what the Chancellor said. He said, we're not going to go into a technical recession. So I guess that means we're going into a recession. But it's not technically a recession. I don't know. And apparently inflation is going to come down to about 2.9% by the end of the year. That's according to the Office for Budget Responsibility, I think. OBR. Anyway, so, have I missed out? No, Lee, I've just started. Literally just started. Iggy Pop appeared in an episode of Star Trek DS9. He did indeed. And Christian Slater appeared in, what was it, one of the Star Trek movies, I think? He just wanted to be in a Star Trek film. There you go. Wanted to do that. And half the cast of Cheers were in Star Trek at one point, if anyone else noticed that. Next week, Johnson will have to lie without looking like he's actually lying. That's the thing is, I don't really want to look at Johnson because I just hate him. I just hate him a lot. I also hate Jeremy Hunt. He's got a very smug face. You know that is with his little case. Look at his stupid face. Very punchable. Anyway, the big news for the budget is that long overdue, in my opinion, childcare for younger children will now be free. Parents working 16 hours a week, children aged 9 months to 5 years will get 15 hours of free childcare to encourage caregivers to enter the workforce. This was a huge problem for a long time in our society, that basically having a child has now become a luxury accessory. You know, like having a kid, it's a bit like having a Gucci handbag or one of those personalised number plates that says like KN08 HEAD or something. It's one of those things where it's like, oh my god, you could afford one of those things. You know, a crotch nugget, a womb goblin, a sex trophy. I did not like me calling them that, but you know, that's what. Anyway, Asperger's Europe says hello. Hello, Asperger's Europe. I'm a bit under the weather today. I've got a really bad cold. I've bitten my tongue on the right side of my tongue, so it's quite hard for me to talk. And yesterday, I spent 10 hours doing 10 hours. No, it could be 10 hours. I spent 6 hours doing podcasts with Ben Chambers of 16 Million Rising, and I stopped halfway through so I could do PMQs. I was a bit late with PMQs. I was bloody tardy. I need to get better at my timekeeping. I know. And then went straight back to doing more of these mad movie listicles that Ben and I dreamt up, and it was quite an entertaining show, actually. I hope you all watch it. This is Alexis has just dropped £2 into my super chat. Did you like Hunt's gaff phrase on independence? I missed it. Sorry. You got to fill me in. Yeah, sorry, I missed that. Duke Vengeance says the weight of my exhaustion is immense. I couldn't possibly do anything else today. Not a single thing. YouTube notification, Graham is streaming. Tiredness, what tiredness? Oh, thank you, Duke. Thank you for joining me. I'm knackered. My nose is full of snot and I can barely talk, but I'm here. My throat's killing me. My tea's not hot enough. But you know what? I'm still alive. That's the main thing. The DVLA banned number plates ending in P19 FKR after that allegation against Cameron. Big fuck. I bet they did. It's expensive to have a pet, let alone a child. Well, that's the thing as well. Owning a pet is surprisingly expensive because once they get ill, you have to take it to a vet, and there's no kind of thing to make that free. Well, there is the PDSA, but you're not supposed to use that unless you're on income support. But yes, it's the way that this country has gone over the last 13 years is just shocking. It's actually shocking. You can't get a dentist now, an NHS dentist, for love nor money. People are going to start dying of their own teeth again. If you are a pensioner who's not a millionaire, this budget has done bugger all for you. Let's face it. It's done a lot for the millionaire pensioners. It's taken their tax-free allowance to, what is it, 1.6 million or something, and that will only affect the 1% of wealthiest pensioners. You're the ones that worked really hard, the really hard working ones. You know, like the bankers and the financial advisors and the accountants. The ones who have I don't know, made a spreadsheet and had a conversation, worked really hard, really hard, really harder than the people who go out on the big ships and have to go out in all weathers and all storms and catch fish and pull the nets. I mean, much harder than those guys. The childcare thing only comes in 2025 and doesn't cover the school holidays. That's great. Yeah, I know. It's a bit of a halfway house, but it's a step in the right direction. You see, I'm an eternal optimist, and Labour aren't going to be able to dial this one back. They're not going to dial this one back. When Labour get in, I hope they push it forward and get it to a point where it makes sense to people. Because at the moment, childcare in London is costing up to a base of £1,500 a month, which is ridiculous. Which is the lease on a luxury car. I mean, come on. I've got no kids of my own, and one of the reasons is I've just never felt like I can afford them. Same reason I've never got married. Same reason why I've never done cocaine. I just don't think I can afford it. Well, I don't want to do cocaine because it's a cunt drug. But, the point stands that there's things in life that I would like to do, and I'm prevented from doing through the lack of resources. So type that fold. My sister, who lives in Canada, this is from the fact of Puny, has had one of her cats die in the last week due to ongoing illness. The cost to euthanize it was hundreds. Oh God, fucking Puny, that's awful. You have to spend all that money and the cat dies anyway. Oh, I love cats and dogs. A bit of a cat-dog person. That's just me, innit? People go, oh, do you like this? Do you like this or this? And I go, both. And they go, you weirdo. You got to decide. Do you like cats or dogs? You can't. Do you support Everton or Liverpool? Well, you know what? If they're playing Man United and they're beating Man United, I'll support Liverpool. It's as simple as that. I'm not like dyed in the wool, one or the other. So yeah, cat dogs. The childcare thing is from 2025, so Labour are going to get the benefit of doing it. Yeah, that's true. Actually, they set these things up and like, oh, Labour will pay for that. Labour will pay for that. Labour will sort of that. Apparently, it'd be staggered from April 2024 to ensure enough places. Children up to 2 years old will get 15 hours free from April 2024. Children from 9 months will benefit from September 2024. And from September 2025, every single working parent of a child under 5 will have access to 30 hours of free childcare per week, which is great. That's good. That is definitely a step in the right direction. Although one of the things that they have done is they've At the moment, I think that you're only allowed to look after 4 toddlers per adult, and they're going to increase that to 5 toddlers per adult. And I don't know how many of you out there have ever had to deal with a toddler, but 1 is bad enough. 5, oh my God. The budget, basically, here's some crumbs while we help the richest, indeed. Hunt said independence is better than dependence. Oh, well, good. He's joined the Scottish independence movement. It's glad to have you on board, Mr. Hunt. Hunt. Jeremy Hunt. Hello, Mr. Jeremy Hunt. Hello. Why are you such a cunt? That's a Viz joke. By 2025, I will be so old I will need care myself, but no money for it. Plum Duff, you can't age that fast. Have you drank from the wrong cup at the end of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade? Don't be so old. David says, Christians is the big topic tonight. Christians? What? You got me, my lovely Graham. I'm a big gay Christian. What? When did I mention Christians? What? Oh, Christmas. I put Christmas is coming. For the 1%. Yeah, basically, this is a budget, like most budgets by the Tories, that benefit the rich over the poor. The economically advantaged over the economically disadvantaged. The independently wealthy over the economically disadvantaged. Economically wealthy, yes. Financially challenged. There you go. That's a good way of putting it. The financially challenged are not going to benefit from this at all. Sorry about this. I don't mean to... Oh, Xmas, sorry. I know it's really small. I probably need to write that bigger because I'm thinking if you're trying to watch this on your phone, text might be too small. But I like the idea in movies that the text is very small because its idea is it's supposed to be on a big screen. If someone's got me on their 4K, 72-inch screen, I'll be very impressed. Jeremy Berkshire Hunt. I like that. It's very good. That's where Burke, the rhyming slang, comes from, I think. Alcohol duty, the tax relief of 11% has been 11 pence has been announced on draft drinks served in pubs from 11th of August. 11p. Honestly, a pint in London is over £5 now for a single pint. So £11 pence, that's just a drop in the ocean. Fuel duty, an extension of the 5p cut in fuel duty at a cost of $6 billion has been announced for the year. I don't care. It's not something that bothers me. Benefits. How about we take the money, we put the money up, and then what we do is we simply make it a little bit cheaper to get the train. How about we put the fuel duty up and train fares down, and we use the $6 billion to go towards train fares that benefit us rather than the shareholders in the privatised train companies. Right, I'm going to do something in a moment, but now actually I'm going to disappear. Watch this. Which is going to disappear. Watch this. And that would have been better if I had just actually not clicked my fingers. But 1 second, I will be back. Apologies for that. I had to blow my nose, and no one needs to see that. John, neither me. Did too much in the younger days. What's this? Good job I don't drink. Anyone? How about just giving everyone a UBI? That would help the economy. It would indeed. It would indeed. See, what the Tories and Libertarians and Fascists and Republicans and Australian Liberals, that's the Liberal Party with capital L, don't understand. Actually, I think they do understand this, but they're just part of the 1%, so they don't give a damn. Basically, if you want to stimulate your economy, you need money swirling around your economy. Money makes money. You see, every time someone buys something and then they give money to someone else, they'll go take that money into their business, they'll go buy something else, they buy something else. So the money moving around is good. What isn't good for our economy is for billionaires to exist, for one, and secondly, billionaires to take money out of our country and to squirrel them away in offshore banks. That's literally the worst thing that can happen, along with austerity, meaning that the vast majority of people have less money than ever before and don't have money to spend on shit that they don't actually 100% require. We've gone so far with austerity now that in the UK there are children who are going hungry. There are adults who are going hungry or eating their children's leftovers. There are nurses working full-time and using food banks because they don't get enough money from being a nurse. Looks like the strike with the NHS might might have had the correct effect on the government. It does look like they're heading towards a pay deal, which the unions have advised their members to take, although it is below inflation at the moment. But the excuse is, oh well, inflation's going to come down, so it'll be all right in the end. £30 on its way from number 3. Thank you, Richard. You're legends. You're too good to me. You're too good to me. Thank you. I really appreciate that. That's amazing. Thank you. Trickle down economics stinks. Yeah. It's bullshit. It's always been bullshit. And unfortunately, in the 1980s, when I was just a wee nipper, we had dickhead Reagan over in the States. We had dickhead Thatcher over here going, yeah, trickle down economics. That's how economics works. Neither of which had any qualifications in economics whatsoever. But the people who did have qualifications in economics, like the Milton Friedman School of Chicago Economics, basically, they knew exactly how to make the rich richer and at the expense of everybody else. And that's what they went ahead and did. I believe that the Chicago School of Economics, or Chicago University, wasn't it set up by Rockefeller? Because he was told that he had to break up his oil company. So he thought, what I'll do is I'll make my own university, right? And I'll have my own economics department, and what they can do is they can go around the world, well, go to the US government first, but then around the world, putting my libertarian, disgusting, money for the rich plans into action, and we'll have this thing called the Economic Nobel Prize. I mean, I honestly believe that Alfred Nobel must be spinning in his grave, that I think in 1969 a bank decided that we needed an extra Nobel Prize to go with medicine, physics, chemistry, peace and literature. They were the original 5, and then the 6th came along, economics. And some absolute wanklangers won this award. And have been awarded this, and people go, oh, but they're a Nobel Prize winning economist. And it's like, up to that point it sounded good until you said the word economist, because that is a joke Nobel Prize that was invented by rich people to give awards to rich people who theorize on ways of making the rich more rich, which is quite impressive. But there's a really good book called The Shock Doctrine that's really worth reading. But that's what's happened to us in the UK. We still have a situation where our economy has not recovered to pre-COVID levels yet. Every other country in the G7, in the G20, in the advanced economies of the world, and even Russia has got better, grown since before COVID. We have not. The reason, the difference is that although we didn't invade a neighbour, like Russia's done, we imposed economic sanctions on ourselves by leaving the EU with a shitty deal, which is negotiated by Boris Johnson, who hopefully will be in handcuffs by this time next week, but I doubt it. Oh, if only, hey? If only. Well, even Henry Ford, the despicable character, think Trump with the actual business acumen, said, if I don't pay my workers decent wages, how are they going to afford the cars my factories make? Well, yeah. I mean, you look at Trump, he is an absolute product of the Milton Friedman School of Economics, of just screw everyone, make as much money as you can, and there's some kind of nobility in that. And it really is disturbing when people praise wankers like that Joe Rogan creep and go, oh, do you know how much money he got for his podcast? I don't give a shit. Do you know how much money he got though? How much money? And it's like looking up to someone because of how many people they've killed, or because of how many fivers the £50 notes are set on fire in front of homeless people. Do you know what I mean? It's like, that's the thing about them that's amazing, is how wealthy they are. I don't really get that. I don't care. I mean, there are some wealthy people out there who are thick as mints and dangerous, thick as mints people, like Donald Trump, who is, he's a mental patient. He in any other walk of life, had he not been born in America when he was, had he not been a boomer, had he not been born into shitloads of money with a small loan of several $million dollars from his dad to get him started, small loan, Jesus, he would be in the lunatic asylum. I know we don't call them that, mental health hospital. He'll be in a mental health hospital. You look at Jacob Rees-Mogg. If he was born in a single estate in North Liverpool, he would be in jail. He'll be in jail. by now for shanking someone or dealing drugs or whatever. It is just, yeah, that type of person. They wouldn't survive in any other kind of environment except this rarefied air of the upper echelons, the 0.1% that seem to rule this planet with an iron grasp and an iron grip. And when you point this out to people and go, look at the people who are really dictating how we live our lives, the people who are actually taking our freedoms away from us. And we're not talking about the freedom to spread germs during a pandemic, because that's a daft freedom that I don't particularly want. It's like the freedom to murder or the freedom to rape. It's not a freedom that I want, thanks very much, because it's nothing I'm ever going to use, and I don't want anyone else using that freedom on me, if you don't mind. But the idea that they've taken the freedom to move around our continent away from us, freely move without anyone's permission around our continent for as long as we like, stay anywhere for as long as we like, without having to ask anyone's permission, that's been taken from us. They're taking from us the right to protest. They're taking from us the right to vote in the upcoming elections, local elections. You need ID to vote. They're taking away our right to strike. Our freedoms. They're taking away our freedoms. So I want this to be the tagline for the campaign, you know, to get us back in the EU, to get UBI, to get proportional representation, to get the fucking Tories out, is going to be take back freedom. Take back our freedoms that the Tories, those rich, arrogant, privately educated, prawn brains, have taken away from us. Get them back. That's what I want. I bet the car factory that is shut in Swindon is glad they voted for Brexit. Yeah, I bet they're over the moon, mate. I bet they're cock-a-loop. Why can't people just be kind to each other? Do you know what, Plum Duff? I think most people are. I really do think most people are. But the minority, it really sticks in your head. Like if someone's mean to you, you'll think about it more than if someone's nice. If someone's really nice to you, you go, oh, that was nice, you know, and you kind of forget about it the next day. Whereas if someone is mean to you, it can really get you and really like bother you for a long time and lead to, you know, mental health problems if it's sustained and horrible enough, which Twitter pylons are. And one of the things I've spoken about before is I do worry about the breakdown of society, not in that kind of like, you know, it's all going to the dogs because all these young people are committing crime. They're not. I mean, the violent crime's been going down for years. Life in the streets, your house, your car, it's safer than it has been in the past, right? You know, it's not entirely safe. Obviously, people still get murdered, but it's not as bad as you might be led to believe if you just read the bollocks that's written in the tabloid newspapers. In the UK, for instance, there's about 600 people who are murdered each year, which is a horrific number. But having said that, in America, over 1,200 people are murdered every year by the police in America. Yeah, I know they've got a bigger population than us, but it's not that much bigger to justify that kind of disgusting statistic. Anyway, the point being that the chances of you being murdered in this country are about 1 in 100,000. So, not massive. Unfortunately, it does still happen. But I don't believe in, like, our society's gone to the dogs. What I mean by that is community. Is this idea that you go down the pub and you have a conversation with people who might not agree with you, like I did last Friday when I went to Hyde to interview a couple of Labour MPs, and afterwards, me and my mate AB, we stuck around and we chatted with the locals, and it was fascinating. You know, there was a guy there who genuinely believed that all of his problems, all the country's problems, were caused by the boat people. And it was interesting to actually have that conversation with someone and go, really, what about the billionaires? What about the Tories? What about the fact that they did a budget which cost the taxpayer over like £40 billion? What about all that? Do you think that actually has knocked our economy and our standard of living down a lot more than a literally handful of people coming across in small boats? But to them, it's like, no, I've read it in the newspaper. This is the problem. But what was interesting in that conversation is other people in the pub came in on my side and AB's side and said to this guy, don't think you're right there, mate. I think what the real situation is. And he was like, okay, yeah. We didn't get into a fight. He didn't block us. He didn't fuck off and then piss off. He was like, okay, all right, yeah. And I felt like we had made a little bit. I mean, probably went home and thought, what a bunch of idiots in the pub. But actually having that interaction, I thought was important to actually talk to people who have a different political opinion in an environment where you can do that kind of thing without it coming to either blows or some really horrific insults and subsequent Twitter pylons. And I think we need to get back to that. I really do think we need to get back to that. The problem is we are working every hour God bloody sends at the moment just to keep our heads above water. The idea of going to the pub unless someone else is buying the drinks is a bit of a mad thought for a lot of us at the moment. Should we just do that for fun? No, I'm going there to interview these MPs, and I've been trying to set this up for weeks, so I really have to go. And if someone wants to buy me a drink while I'm there, I'm not going to say no to it, but I'm not exactly going to be buying everyone in the pub around, if you know what I mean. But yeah, it is just sad that we have become more connected in one way through the internet, but more atomized in another way in terms of actual real social interaction with other people in real life, IRL. Which is why when I launch Labour Social later in the month, I hope that we will have monthly meetups, which you'll all be invited to, of course, as my foundation, my base, and I hope to have each month we'll meet up in Leeds, Manchester, Liverpool, Birmingham, maybe even London, and just have an opportunity for us to meet up in real life and have influencers and maybe some politicians come along and give a little bit of a talk and get to know people. And yeah, I think that would be really, really positive, because at the moment it's like we've got the influencers over here, we've got the politicians over there, we've got the people on TV over there, and then you've got the just normal people like you and I. And then, yeah, we're all kind of far away from each other. So I think that's something like that. Moves around the country, makes it a lot easier for people to get to from where they are. I think that's something that I really, really would love to put in place, the Labour socials. Anyway, so yes, Graham, you're marvellous with your Indiana Jones hat. Well, it's not actually an Indiana Jones hat. That is a fedora, a wide-brimmed. It's a wide one of them. Fedora. This is actually an Akuba. This is Australian bush tucker? No, that's food. It's an Australian drover's hat. I think the word is drover, which is essentially Australian cowboy. They're really good hats, except for the fact it's really bloody hot in Australia, so you have to wear a hat like this to stop so you don't get sunburned. But it's so hot that you sweat a lot, and then your hat starts to smell because it's full of your sweat, which isn't good. So yeah, just something to bear in mind. Tories stinks. Yes, they do. And so does a hat when you sweat in it too much. Right now, register for postal voting. No ID for that, I believe. Yes, no ID for postal voting. A lot of older people vote by post. This is so transparent by the Conservative Party that they're trying to stop young people from voting. They're trying to stop people who aren't that interested in politics from voting. Only people who are going to take an interest in politics, which is politics wonks like myself, and older people are going to bother voting in the next election. Because most people are going to turn up and go, what, I need ID? No one told me that. I'm going to have to blow my nose again, so very sorry about this. I'm going to sneeze. Oh my God. I will return in a moment once I've blown my schnoz. My schnoz. Sorry about that. I'm not in any fit state to be doing a podcast tonight. Listen, Ian Byrne, who is my local MP in Liverpool, not here in Durham, that's Mary Foy, but back in Liverpool, West Derby, where I grew up, he has according to number 3, has a right to food campaign and community dining, which sounds very good to me as well. Again, that is killing two birds with one stone. It's making sure that people are getting enough food to eat, which is kind of embarrassing in one of the biggest economies in the world that people are going hungry. Nevertheless, the idea of people getting together to eat community dining is something that I would get behind 100%. Hey G, just a thought. This is Peter Cosby. I don't drive. My passport has expired. Not renewing it anytime soon. Can't afford not going abroad anytime soon. What ID do I need to vote, please, mate? If you type in government ID voting into Google, you can apply online with a digital photo for free ID that you can use to vote with. Also, if you don't have time to do that, technically speaking, you should still be able to use an expired passport or ID, driver's license as ID. But apparently it's up to the individual officers in the polling station to decide whether they will accept it or not, which I think is just ridiculous. But yeah, if you type in government UK voting ID, there is a program to get free ID that way. But the Tories know that most people won't know about that. That's what the Tories do, because they are scumbags. Well, as Archer said in Scum said, it takes more muscles from then to smile. It takes more muscles to frown than to smile, so I smile. The wealthy wanker culture is very different from the mainstream one. Toxic, dangerous. Yeah, the wealthy wanker. I like that. I'm gonna steal that if you don't mind. I remember there was an American actress from Beverly Hills 90210. Her name was Tori Spelling. Maybe she was a Tory. I think she was just called Tory. I don't know. She's old now, so I guess she's probably, people go more conservative as they get older, don't they? Except millennials. Millennials don't. They become more left wing. I wonder how much animosity was directed at Vietnamese boat people in the 70s and 80s from Hong Kongers. Yeah, indeed. I miss old pub chats. Plugged as well. I've got a pub chat in the can. I just need to edit it together. I'll probably put that online next week. So I'm going to share something with you before I read some of your more messages, because obviously a lot of people who are watching this are my sort of regulars. What I'm planning to do is I was going to start a new channel, a Labour Social channel, and then start again from scratch. Or I could change the name of this channel to Labour Social, change the logo, put all my travel videos to private, put them on a separate channel, Graham Hughes Travels, which I actually have, which I don't really use. And, start again, but with 27,000 subscribers. Most of whom I don't think are actually on YouTube anymore, because obviously a lot of people follow me for my travels around the world. I've not been traveling so much recently. I'm thinking with that, I have certain access to things like being able to do merchandise on my channel. Also, I can do live stuff from my phone, which you can't do unless you have 1,000 subscribers, and it'll take some time to get up to 1,000 subscribers. I just want to your take on it, okay? Pros and cons of changing this channel to Labour Social and then just running Labour Social for the next few months. Because, look, I can't get anyone else to work for me for free as a presenter, producer, runner, etc. So I've obviously, it's going to be a bit of a one-man band, at least for the first couple of months. Maybe after the first X many episodes of stuff, someone will go, oh my God, this is really good content. I'll give that guy some money so he can get other presenters to present stuff on that channel. So this is something really important, because I've done 2 episodes now of Hard Labour, which is supposed to be a hardline, strong conversation, like Hard Talk on BBC News. Basically, it's not joking around, not having a laugh, not having a pint. We're talking politics, hard politics, with a Labour MP or a Labour advisor or councillor or activist or whatever. I'm shit at it. I am so bad at presenting in a po-faced way. I just can't do it. I don't know whether it's just my personality or because I'm from Liverpool, but whenever there's a chance to have a laugh or throw a joke in there or just go off on one or some personal fucking anecdote that most people wouldn't care about, I just go off on one. And it works on a platform like this. It works in the pub when I'm doing Three Blokes in the Pub or podcast. It does not work in that kind of environment. So I would like another person to present that. Also, I mean, I have to sleep sometime as well. So yeah, I'm just gonna read a few of your messages that were in before, and then I'll get into what you think of the idea of changing this channel to Labour Social and just running with it, because we've already got 27,000 subscribers. We've already got the Discord server set up. I could change the name of the Discord server so I can get that working properly, get some bots working, get everyone on board who's already a subscriber and already watches my shows regularly, so you get free access to that. You don't have to resubscribe or anything like that, and we could just have like a continuation, because I was having a chat with Catherine, as I often do, my partner, and it was brought up the fact that when I start doing Labour Social, I can't do sweary Prime Minister's questions anymore, because people will be like, oh, look at this Labour Party person, even though it's independent of the Labour Party, screaming the C-bomb at Rishi Sunak every week. Ooh, that's not cricket, is it? And I'd be like, oh yeah, I suppose that does look quite bad from a professional point of view. If I was going for a job at the BBC as a presenter, I wouldn't necessarily send them a clip reel of my best swears at various Tory PMs. But yes, anyway. Intermission, says Lee Corn. Yeah, I think that's where I blew my nose again. Rwanda only accepts 200 people a year under the deal, and there are 777 sitting members in the House of Lords. It takes almost 4 years to clear the House, indeed. Ian Byrne, right, I've read that one. The pub was the heart of the community. Now everyone is on the line. That's exactly right, Plum Duff. And I think that it's not just 11 pence on pints. I think that there should be more of an effort to save pubs and make sure that they're not just all taken over by these chains like Green King and Wetherspoons. And we can actually, because Green King's not even British anymore. I think it's Hong Kongian now. Yeah, it's painful. It's painful. Labour isn't pro-EU enough for me. Well, probably it's not pro-EU enough for me either, and that's why Labour Social is going to be independent of Labour. But I've got access to a lot of social media influencers, and I've got access to a lot of Labour MPs. I don't have access to anyone in the Liberal Democrats. I don't have anyone in the Greens, really. I don't really have any. I don't want anyone in the Tory Party, Brexit Party, Reform, Refork, or whatever they call themselves these days. But I do have a lot of contacts in the Labour Party. And the idea is that we'll be able to have conversations with them, mostly informal conversations in a pub or a cafe. And we can throw in the stuff that we want to talk about. Imagine like we control the agenda when it comes to what we talk about. So maybe they'll want to talk about their policies first, but then I can start talking about stuff that I care about, like getting us back into the EU, UBI, proportional representation. What are you going to do about XYZ? Public transport. Oh my God, I could bore them for hours talking about public transport. I could tell them my great idea for low speed 2. Instead of high speed 2, we do a low speed track. Do 2 of them. Do 1 and 2. And they can go up the old Central Main Line. You can't use that for a high-speed track because the curves are too sharp for a really fast train, but they're not too sharp for a really slow train, like a freight train or one of them, local regional trains that only go at 35 miles an hour because they've got to stop at the next station, for God's sake. Anyway, why not start a setup like Midas Touch with several other creators? Well, Tim, that's what I'm trying to do. That's what I'm trying to put together with Labour Social. Although you probably lose all your SMP supporting subscribers. Well, yeah, Lee, I mean, that's got to be my point about I want Labour Social to not be like, devotedly pro-Labour. I want it to be in a position where we not only help kick the Tories out, but we also help Labour, people in Labour, get better at just communication, get better at having casual, informal conversations. Like, I can't think of a particularly good Keir Starmer interview except for the one that he did with James O'Brien. When he was kicked back, he was relaxed. He talked like a normal person. He didn't talk like a bloody AI bot. And it was good. It was great. And that's what I'd like to see from more Labour MPs. I'd like more of Labour MPs, people to know who they are. And yeah, and for us, not just me, but you as well as the viewers, and leaving comments here, asking the hard questions about Scottish independence, about what the hell are we going to do about the EU. I don't want Keir Starmer saying, "Oh, we're never going to rejoin the single market. That's something that will never happen." And I'm like, it probably will. It probably will. Because the vast majority of young people coming online will quite like to take our freedoms back. It's nice being on a channel where people care about their fellow citizens. Yeah, I mean, it's still gonna be me. I'm gonna be running the show, so yeah, I'm not gonna start putting stuff on there that's against what I believe personally. I'm not gonna be like, here's the case for us never going back into Europe. Here's the case for keeping first past the post forever. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. It's still gonna be me. It's still gonna be my sort of, take on the world, which I think chimes with a lot of people who watch this. And I promise not to go off on one about private schools quite so much. Pineapple boy. I'm not really Labour as such. Do whatever works for you. Simple might be best. Indeed. Graham, go off on an anecdotal tangent. Surely not, says Yoni. No, that never happens. Gets in trouble calling it Labour Social if you're not affiliated with the Labour Party. No, I've asked. They're fine with it. And Conservative Home and Labour List, which are two websites set up, they were independent of Conservatives and independent of Labour, but they have access. And Conservative Home puts on articles where they're actually critical of the Conservative policy. They're sometimes critical of Conservative MPs. It's just a home for them, people who are Conservatives, I guess. But the idea is that they're supposed to be independent. So I don't think they're going to have a problem with that. I don't think they're going to do me for copyright. I'm confusing. This is changing. Well, no, we're having a conversation about it. I could start a new channel. But the thing is that the stuff that I do on this channel will probably fade away because I'm going to be spending all of my time getting Labour Social off the ground. See what I mean? So I'm thinking, well, I've already got the subscribers on this channel. I may as well just continue doing that. And I hope I don't lose anyone who's like, oh, I can't listen to Labour Social because I'm a Lib Dem, or I'm not a dyed-in-the-wool Labour supporter. I was a member until 2017, and then when Corbyn lost us that referendum, and then in 2016, and then in 2017 when he gave his MPs a 3-line whip to vote for Article 50 with no amendments, no provisos, no safeguards for EU citizens living here, millions of them, or British citizens living in the EU 27. And that, for me, it was just, I was just like, I'm out of here. I am out of here. And Labour got, in that period, it got so toxic. It was horrible. It was really horrible. And I've spoken to you about this a million times. But being at the coalface of the pro-EU movement and just trying to get some help from the Labour Party at the time, it was horrible. It was horrible. And I was talking to Femi this evening, and he talked about how it affected his mental health. It really did, and I feel the same way. Do you know what I mean? Like, it really did knock me for six, because it's one thing to be part of a movement and see 6 million people sign a petition, and see 1 million people marching on the streets of London on 3 separate occasions. But it's another thing when you on a political level, where you're like, we need to stop this bad thing from happening. This bad thing can't happen because it's bad. It's bad for the country. It's bad for all of us. And to not get hardly any support on that. Obviously, the Lib Dems were kind of supportive, which was great at the time, but Labour were just not, well, the Labour leadership, I should say, were just not interested. But now we're at the other side of that, and I would like to reopen negotiations, should we say, with Labour. Priority is get rid of the Tories. Yes, Alex Green. Priority is to get rid of the Tories. Yeah, that's that is my agenda. You always talk about people having an agenda. It's the gay agenda. It's the trans agenda. It's a socialist agenda. Yeah, well, this is my agenda. Get the fucking Tories out of fucking office before they can fuck anything else up. But they're still, you know. Starmer is the Stalinist. What? They won't shut up about Corbyn. I wish they would. Corbyn's response to everything is like, Jeremy, you've been a massive racist here. And he goes, I can't have been a racist. I'm a lifelong anti-racist. It's ridiculous. It's like finding someone who's just committed the murder and go, and you've just seen you commit a murder. No, I've never. I didn't commit a murder. I've been a lifelong anti-murder. And you're like, no, but I just saw you commit a murder. Yes, but I don't have a murderous bone in my body. No, but literally, I just saw you kill someone. No, that couldn't have been me because I'm a lifelong anti-murder person. Anyway, someone on Mark's channel said it was all a Labour ruse to keep you under their control. What? I didn't go to private school. I know, Pineapple. I was just, just a little in joke between you and me. It's nice being on a channel where people care about their fellow citizens. I've read that. Progressive Social, the Church of Woke. Graham, please swear all you want to swear. Do not forget business rates come April the 1st. Some companies could be looking at 300% rises because the land prices have risen so much. Yeah. I prefer a different name. Socialist Social. I couldn't say that after a couple of pints. Politics Joe had a video yesterday about Jeremy Corbyn complaining about politicians who went to private school. What, like Jeremy Corbyn? He couldn't have gone to private school because he's a lifelong person, anti-private school person. Add me to the gay agenda, says David. Okay. Frank B says, Steve, Brexit hardman Baker has also said Brexit has affected his mental health as well, even as one of his biggest backers and promoters. Sympathy? No. Yes, Speckle Puny. I couldn't agree more. Sarah Vine, or Sarah Vile as well. Apparently Brexit cost her friends and her marriage. Oh, what's this in this microscope? This electron microscope. What is it? Oh my god! I've got to go down to the molecular level to see this. I got oh god! Keep zooming. 3 hours later. Okay, I'm still zooming. I'm nearly there. Oh my god! It's the world's tiniest violin, playing just for Sarah Vine. Anyway. Plums us off to sleep. I'm happy to meet you in Bristol. Get Bristol for Europe involved, I reckon. Yeah, number 3, we should do that. Yeah, I'm up for coming to Bristol. I was in Bristol, actually, last weekend. I went to Bath and picked up some friends' stuff from their house. I'm always doing that. Why the bloody removals, man? Just look at me and go, oh, yeah. He looks like a removals man. Indeed. I think the Colombian dancing powder and buff guys cost Vine her marriage. Yes. What can I say? Her husband is fond of the gack. Apparently. Allegedly. As are all Tories. Allegedly. Yeah. Apparently, the amount of gack coming into our country has gone off a fucking... It's gone into the stratosphere. So the trail of blood, which came from South America, from most notably from Colombia and Bolivia, through West Africa up into Europe, has now turned into a river of blood. Thanks for that, gackheads. Number 3, I think that some of the Tories are eventually discovered, conscious, and are screaming now. Indeed, I would like to have, if I was in charge in Parliament, I would have a vote to legalise drugs. And the thing would be, it would be like, right, we're going to have a vote on Monday to legalise all drugs, right? And they're all going to be registered and facilitated through the state, and no one's going to be able to, run them as private enterprise. No one's going to be able to push drugs. Drug pushers won't be a thing because you'll be able to get these drugs if you want them through specialist clinics that we'll set up, and you'll only pay a nominal amount for them, so you won't have to go and rob people's cars or rob their houses to pay for your gack addiction. If any MPs don't want to vote for this, we're also going to have a drugs test in the morning before we have the vote. So we're going to just take a little bit of hair out of everyone's head, and we're going to see if there's any gack in your system. Just, out of interest. Anyway, Yoni, the vote is Monday. The mandatory drug tests start on Tuesday regardless. Yes, that's what I just said. That's the plan. Indeed. I need to write a manifesto. You should, Duke. Write a manifesto. Listen, I'm going to have to go because my head is killing me. I now have a headache to go with my sore throat and my plugged up nose and my sore tongue that I bit earlier. Oh, thank you so much for bearing with me. Sorry I didn't talk about the budget much, but you've been watching these shows long enough to know this is the way they always seem to go. I'll be back on Monday with some more War on Error just for you. And until then, thank you so much for watching. Thank you to all of my wonderful patrons. Thanks to everyone who's dropped a super chat in tonight. Thanks to Richard for dropping £30 into my account. Yeah, I mean, I think this is the right thing to do. We might discuss it a little bit more on the Discord server, maybe on Monday night if I'm feeling a bit better. But right now, I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to go to sleep because I feel like shit. I will miss the swearing, says number 3. Indeed. Good night, Greg. Give me a shout when you get a chance to discuss Labour Social. Let's do that tomorrow, Lee. Let's do that tomorrow. Duke says, Le Archduke Revengeance, the first great lord of the Dukedom of Kurst, hereby declares the legalization of drugs. It would change. It wouldn't change everything, but it would change a lot of things. It really would, and also give us some much needed money to spend on things that we actually need in this country, like, you know, a decent transport infrastructure and food for all of our children. So until next time, thanks for watching. Hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.